It's another good one. I like the good ones because it weeds out the riffraff. And then the people that are left that can tune, these are the ones I'm trying to share with here. So let's talk about the brutal aspect first. That's easy to see, isn't it? Anyone that's been on the planet even a few years can see that. You have disease, you have limitation everywhere. I mean, there was a guy, he got into a car accident and he's stuck in this broken body now. That's another video why that happens. I'll get into that. But he's stuck in this broken body. His legs are broke, his hips are broke, and he was in a coma for like a week. 82 years old. How are you going to recover from that? So this is one example of brutal aspect. There's people who suffer. Suffering takes so many different forms. In abusive situations, at home, with family, in a war zone, or just having a body that like doesn't work. So many people that has a body that don't work. And those people whose body that does work, they can't understand the people's body who doesn't work. And so they lack compassion. That belongs to the beautiful aspect that we're going to get into in a minute, is how compassion actually arises from the brutal aspect. You see how the two are combined? So you have all these limitations. You gotta struggle, depending on what country you're in, or it doesn't even matter. Just generally speaking, it's a struggle just to maintain the body, just to stay alive in this existence, just to do what's necessary to like exist. There's only this dimension you have to do that in. So many things. I made videos and I talk about that. Not as a negative complaint, I'm just stating the obvious, what it is. So limitations are everywhere. So some are worse than others. That's the brutal aspect. Beautiful aspect, you can say it's peace, love, light. I make fun of that sometimes because those words have been so misused and abused and overused, and you have people doing theatrical demonstrations trying to show how much peace, love, light they have. So it's like, to make balance with that, the universe uses me to do a little satire, because I enjoy it. You know it's the universe doing something when it brings you some joy. But the real peace, love, light feels pretty damn good. So you can say that that's part of the beautiful aspect of this creation. Also, experiencing the senses, hearing, seeing, touching, feeling, all those things. Or this is the most dense realm to experience those things. It has the most actuality to it. There's no other realm that has such a pronounced level of experience as this realm. So this whole existence is like a real big drug experience, actually, if you really look at it. The chemistry that the endocrine glands release, just feelings, emotions that arise, being with the opposite sex and having a deep, intimate connection, like all these experiences, they can be beautiful. It can also be hell, because the two are intertwined. So as one progresses in their journey of self-realization, you start to see how the two are, you can't have the beauty without the brutality, and you can't have the brutality without the beauty. This is a realization that comes in time. Somebody just talking about this to someone else with a closed mind, or if they don't have the capacity to understand, they're not going to get it. So don't waste your time with that. It's not their time. They like to listen and just follow blindly some conditioned concepts that they read somewhere that, when challenged, don't even make any sense, but at least it gives a false sense of security. That's a stage. We do that for a while too. There was a guy writing, explaining how, I don't know, the preacher said something and then he challenged it. He was trying to understand what it meant. He wasn't like, you're stupid. No, he was like, really? It's like that? Okay. Yeah, but if it's like that, then how is this? And the preacher says, I don't know. Just, have you noticed when people get provoked easy when you ask them to explain what they're saying? They don't know what they're saying. They're just repeating things that somebody else repeated to them. So some of you've been called to really dive deep into trying to understand existential things and questions because you can't help it. Somebody say, oh, you think too much. No, I don't think you think enough, actually. It's not thinking, it's contemplating. You want to understand things. You have that kind of archetype, that kind of temperament. You want to understand how things work because like otherwise it doesn't make any sense. And you're not satisfied like some. This is the other side of it. So you have one side delusional who just believes in concepts, but they don't even know what they believe in. Then you have the other side which says life sucks, it's hell, there's no God, and everything's just evil. They're both ignorant. So the being who's being called to wake up to their true nature and understand things, they can't do either side. It's not enough just to say, like, just point out how everything's negative. It's like, okay, what's the solution though? Yeah, I can see the limitation. Why keep going over that over and over and over again? What do they call it? Doom scrolling? I don't even know what that means. I think it means you just look on the internet for doom and gloom and just keep looking at that over and over again? Is that what it is? Yeah, that's not my thing. I'd rather sit out here. So, let's see. Now, this topic, I definitely had to write some things down because I'll forget. And I wanted to touch on these things. Okay, why can't it just be beautiful? It's because you need that friction, man. You need that pressure of being in this limitation and duality for transformation. To dig out these higher spiritual tendencies and qualities that are locked in the being. You need these situations. It's like, you see, that's the problem with the non-dual extreme. They think you get to a place where nothing exists and you just turn into a robot and don't feel anything anymore. It doesn't work like that. If a person you love dies, or they leave you, or you leave them, or if you see a nice little deer getting eaten by an animal, it's natural to feel some heartbreak or compassion in those situations. That's the positive aspect of the brutality. It activates that in you. You're not just dead and numb inside. A lot of people are. Even they see those things. I think the internet's responsible for that. You can see everything now on the internet, almost. You can see all kinds of horrendous things, and it just numbs you after a while. Like, and then you see it outside if it happens, and you're like, okay, I've seen it before. Yeah, bless them that they come out of that, because that's a very lost state to be in. So if one's sensitive enough, you'll be in certain situations, life will hit you with something, and it will wake up your spiritual nature. You need that. You need that for later when you go to, should I talk now? I don't know, we'll do both. I'll touch on it. When you go to these more subtle realms that are subtle, because peace and love light is very fine. Their qualities are very fine. You need to have subtlety and subtle perception in order to enjoy those qualities. The peace, love, light isn't really to be found here so much. You can still experience it, sure, but this isn't the realm for that. It just is not set up for that. So don't think that you're supposed to feel that 24/7, and that if you're a real master, that they feel it 24/7. They don't. They don't. On stage, they like to maybe pretend like they do and give the false idea that they do, but they don't. This realm isn't for that. So the more your sensitive spiritual nature gets activated, which is what this realm is designed to do, to activate that, then the more you can be aware of that in these subtler realms, which that's part of the evolutionary cycle to get there. Right? You can say the consciousness starts in the mineral kingdom. Then it graduates and moves to the plant kingdom. Then it moves to the animal kingdom. Then it moves to the human dimension. Then it moves to the astral. Then it moves to the causal. And then it merges with the source. But still keeps this individual sense so that it can enjoy what it feels like to be fused with the source. And then it can still incarnate back into form if there's a real divine reason to. But it's not obligated to anymore. There, that's the full cycle. All right. yet. We have to understand the human plane is not the pure expression of the divine. Don't expect it to be. It's just like not it like the expectation that it should be, or that if you reach a self-realized state, that then you should express the pure divine being in its fullest. It's not like that. This planet doesn't it what's the word? It doesn't potentiate those qualities. It's just too dense. Yeah, you can taste it, but that's not why you're here. This plane is to activate those qualities. And so this is why some people say God's not here, like there's no God. How can a God be here in such brutalness, especially depending on your situation? Have you realized life's not fair when perceived on a surface level? And there's some people, they have a hell of a life, and some other person here is just kind of skipping around. Yes, you know, I can manifest anything I want, and they don't even know what real hardship is. So those damn it, what was the, oh, it's not that God's not here, it's God's veiled. That was the word, veiled. It's like on a, let's say on higher astral or causal plane, God or the divine can shine through in its more purest expression, which is peace, love, light, bliss. But when God's limited and covered up and it's like mutated, then you're gonna have this opposite side. This, like I was talking about the cold negative current in a few videos back. That's what happens, and that's what's supposed to happen when you're in a very dense plane of existence. That's why I say it has extreme duality. Yes, the pure, pristine nature of the divine is here, the warm, benevolent current, that's here, but the cold, negative, brutal current's also here. They're both here. Whereas on some of these higher planes, the brutal current's not there. It's just this nice warm current. But we have to earn, because evolution law, we have to earn the right to be there. Otherwise, we wouldn't even appreciate it. If we would be asleep. If somebody left here and went to causal realm, I know I'm talking deeper now in the videos, I can't help it, man. Like it's evolved to that now. If the average person went to the causal realm, they would sleep right through it. It's so subtle, because everything's so subtle. There's no gross, dense forms. People need dense, gross forms to let them know that they exist right now. If there's no form, no nothing, they would just kind of like, they don't know they exist. So this plane is training and preparation so that we can exist on the more subtle planes and appreciate those planes. That's why I say use your time wisely here. Because this isn't a life where you're just supposed to get rich and have sex and fulfill your senses and whatever. I mean, it depends where you're at on the evolutionary ladder. If you're brand new and from the animal kingdom, yeah, that's all you're supposed to do. That's all you can do. You can't talk to those people, a very simple-minded person they're like brand new, talk to them about these subjects. They'll go to sleep, you see, because they don't have that subtlety yet. They're just not there. It's like, don't you see the red apple is like more evolved than the green apple? If we're talking about law of evolution and within time and space, it's more evolved. It's the same as human nature and animal nature too. Some animals are much more evolved than the next animal, and we attract those animals who your level of consciousness will usually determine the consciousness of the pet you have. Somehow, law of attraction, you'll attract a higher level pet. Because the pet, because the law of evolution, it also wants to get a human body. It doesn't consciously know that, but that's the way evolutionary law works. So it's going to attract an owner who can help facilitate that. So you can get out of that animal body. So some other reasons how it's like pain is built into this human embodiment. It's just built into it. Didn't Buddha say, like, life is suffering? It just is. Like, it's built into the whole mechanism because it needs it. Like, you need this negative side of creation for it to work. Like hunger. Let's just take something simple, just being hungry. Look how much transformation that's responsible for. If we really break it down, we have the body needs life force, so it needs to eat gross food because we're not high enough to where we can just extract be a breatharian and extract the subtle nutrition from the cosmos. So we need to eat gross food. Well, because then the gross food turns into life force. The body converts it into life force, and then we can go do our thing. So, okay, we're hungry. When we're younger, it's easier. Parents feed us. You get older, you gotta work. You gotta food costs something. Unless you live in nature somewhere and you can just pick berries off the tree, but that's becoming almost extinct now these days. And if you went and tried to find one of those tribal groups out in the Himalayas or in the Amazon, I don't know if they'd accept you. I used to have fantasy. I'd try to tell my Indian friend, let's go find those tribals in Himalayas, man. I just want to see them. I want them to see me too, like see what happens, because they've never seen anything but them. They're like way out there, He says, man, they'd kill us, man. He says they'd kill even another Indian that they haven't seen, and then they'd probably eat you. I said, yeah, okay, maybe we can't go, but I'd like to go. He said, you need a link. You need somebody, who can mediate that. I said, okay, let's do that. It never happened though. So, okay, back to the hunger. You need, you get older, you realize, damn, food costs money. I need money to get the food. Okay, so then you got to work. So then you usually, how much stuff comes up in a job, and when you're working, relationships and like intimate relationships, your work. These are two heavy-duty karmic machines. They bring up all kinds of stuff inside somebody that we need to transcend and grow and help to increase our spiritual qualities of tolerance and patience and unconditional love, etc. But we got to work to get the food, you see. If we didn't have to eat, we could just sit home all day maybe and do nothing, but then we'd never grow. So evolution the higher beings that created this has masterminded this to where we're gonna grow, period. No way around it. And the sexual instinct. Some guys, they like to, you see, you ever notice something's on, if it's true, just because it's true on paper, doesn't mean anything. It's like you're missing the deeper point. Because of my other channel, when I'm talking about lust and overcoming that, because it's a limitation. It keeps you stuck and it keeps your mind busy, and you just stay as a sense slave. So they can't do that. And I already tell them too, I know you can't do it. I can't do it either. That has to get undone in you by grace at the right time. Okay? But they don't want to accept, they can't hear that. So they justify. They say, no, but we need lust for procreation. Otherwise there'd be no people, or we wouldn't want to have sex. There's two things about that. Number one, lust has nothing to do with sex. It's just we don't know anything else. People they never had sex without lust, so they think the two are interrelated. Yeah, for most people they are. Higher beings, they're not. That's one thing. But to address the point of this video more, yeah, lust is used to keep this planet going, to keep the beings coming in, to go through this transformational wheel. You see, so that's another example of how lust, how a more heavier quality is still used by the divine for its own higher purpose. Attachment to your family, attachment to your kids, don't know, close friends. Yeah, you keep them alive. You take care of them. You'll save them. You'll help them. Another example, see how the qualities that we're trying to transcend are also responsible, though, for making this whole thing work, too. That's why you can't really say nothing's good or bad. This is a game of transcendence. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, these same mechanisms that keep the body alive and that give you pleasure also cause you pain. This is what those deeper contemplators will come to realize. When you start contemplating these things, you're like, and then you may get to where it's like, this don't make any sense. That's what happened to Buddha. He contemplated these things. It wasn't enough just, see, the average person will say, oh, don't think about death, just go enjoy. Just be unconscious like me and just blot all that out. But those who are destined to wake up to your true nature, you can't help but contemplate these things. And so he contemplated. That's all he would do, is just keep contemplating it, you know. And he's like, what's the point, man? What's the point of life then? This life seems stupid and silly. What? Go out and make money and fulfill my sense pleasures and eat and get drunk and have kids and a family, and then I die? And then they're gonna die too? Is there anything more than that? Yeah, there is. And so that's the next stage. When you get to the place where you're contemplating all these things and it all seems just kind of silly, that's good, you see? That's good because it automatically forces you to contemplate on the divine that's behind all of this. It's behind the duality. And I made a video, God's not real unless you feel it. So those beings that's what an organic spiritual practice looks like. You're not trying to do spiritual practices because it's cool and it's in fashion or anything like that. You're doing it because you have to do it. Because this life, you've already seen through it. You can't, it's just too painful. You're like, I need to connect with the divine. You know, the program inside you that knows there's a divine, that's another thing people can't understand. They think it's belief because all they know is belief. But you're on another level. You know that there's a divine that's behind all this. But now it's time to experience it. You want to experience it. I want to experience this. I don't, it's the only, what's it called? Panacea? It's the only thing that can give me some contentment, man. This world can't give me any contentment. It's totally steeped in duality. And none of it makes sense. The pleasure I'm feeling now is going to turn into pain at some point, or it's going to pass. So I don't want to invest my time and energy in that. And so then a real spiritual practice is born. Nature, man, for those who pay attention and contemplate this totally destroys any kind of like sky god that a lot of people believe in or you used to believe in. Like some nice god like sitting up there or something, like a person, and he's like pushing buttons and he wants to make things good and nice, and like you just realize that's not the case. And you realize, like I've kept saying, and I'll keep saying, that the transformation, for it to take place, there has to be this play of duality, because that's what's responsible for kickstarting this deep yearning to find, you can say, the source beyond all creation. Otherwise, it's not actualized, or it just remains as some concept. You're just doing it to be cool. I want to get enlightened, then I'll get girls. The same reason why the guys, they want to do semen retention. They can get more girls then. Their eyes will look better, and then the girls will like it. So our motives are flawed for a bit until we get beat up enough by the brutal aspect of life. You see how it's good? We got to like get beat up for a while, because otherwise we just stay stupid and ignorant. All right, we're at 25 minutes. Huh. So I've made a whole video on this. You see why this world is not our home? This is a very temporary place that we're residing in. Very temporary. It's for training. This is why we're here. It's for training. It's to wake up our deeper spiritual nature so that then when we leave this plane, we can sync with some of these higher planes and enjoy them. This is a very dense, fragmented expression of the source here on this dense realm. Source is still there, obviously, but it's it's like fragmented. It's like if you have a picture of a person or somebody that's really clear, it was taken like with a really high resolution camera, and you printed it out, it looks very clear. That's higher planes. Now you take that same picture and you like cut it and rip it, and the picture's still there, but it's all messed up. This is what this plane, it's like God's veiled. He's hiding in this fragmented virtual reality show called human life. So realize that it's not a mistake. It's a divine mistake, intentional mistake, but it's not just a like chaotic, like this whole world's just weird and like we're all screwed. But this message will only make sense to those who already intuitively know this. All I'm doing is helping to awake these memories that you already have in you. For somebody that they're not there, they're not going to agree. They're not going to agree with this. Because again, it's their mind that's choosing to agree or disagree. They haven't reached the state yet where there's certain things man, because you know. So you people that know because you know, yeah, these when I make my videos, I have you in my mind, so then I can flow. I've spoke before in places and I tell them I don't want to come back. I can feel immediately the energy field. It's even happened with satsang groups where it's like, whoa, there's no space, man, to really, I have to edit myself too much. I have to step it down too much. And it's like, I don't even want to do it then. But in the videos, there's nobody here. It's just me here. So there's nobody like editing me. And I talk to those, I keep them in my mind who can tune. And I know there's people that can tune because I've talked to them. Those are the best sessions I have, the ones that can tune. Because you just keep, it's like that saying, when two or more gathered in truth, there I am. Because when you get two, it's like two flames are stronger than one. You just keep invigorating each other, and then more downloads come. It's fun, it's great. Yeah, I had a girlfriend, we would do plant medicine. That's what would happen. And the plant medicine would just amplify the whole experience. And yeah, there's been some really good experiences on this realm, and there's been some really horrible ones too. So that's why now at this point, once you taste enough horrible and beautiful, you're like, okay, this was a cool place to visit for a little bit, but like I'm over it. I don't need the really intense beautiful anymore, and I don't feel drawn to the intense horrible either. I just kind of want to go to a plane that's a little more synchronized, a little more balanced, Yeah, that happens naturally. Those who don't get this yet, and I always say this too, don't worry about it. If you're 20 years old, man, yeah, it's different than when you're 40 or 50 or 60. You're not supposed to just renounce everything now and say, yeah, no, you do both. It's not like you got to pick one or the other. It's not like, oh, I have to like totally embody what Yash is saying and drop all my desires and ambitions and things I want to experience. Nor is it what he's saying stupid, or whoever else talks about it, and I'm just gonna be a total sense slave either. No, it's both. A lot of times the questions you ask, the answer is both. And I say it too, sometimes in the comments. What should I do? Should I do this and this? But I don't know, because I said, you gotta do both, man. You do both and you'll come into some synergy. after that. There'll be some balance. You may go extreme to this end and then go extreme to that end, and then you'll just kind of come back into some balance. That's how things work out. That's life. All right, I'm out. I'll see you guys.